Kevin Feige confirms exactly what we thought. Marvel's dead. Dude, it was a live stream for 6 hours and people were like on the edge of their seat and it was chairs. Chairs.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're dead. No one cares about them anymore, right?
What's the word?
They're unalive. They're actually. The other thing you hear a lot, this multiversal saga is a mess. It's not going to work. We don't know what's happening yet. They're going to rush everything. If Doom is introduced here, like, is that too soon, too quick? Okay, I think sometimes we forget that for decades upon decades, movies were not connected. Mm-hmm. You can get emotionally invested in characters that were just introduced in one movie. We've done it for decades. I just think we get kind of like, you fucked up in the head a little bit, Adrian.
Right.
You know, these guys are day drinking, fucking online typing shit. Like, everybody calm down. There's a lot of doomsday news going on right now.
Yep.
We last week there was that 6-hour chair video, you know? Dude, that's the funny thing. People are like, Marvel's dead. Dude, it was a live stream for 6 hours and people were like on the edge of their seat and it was chairs. Chairs.
Wow.
Yeah, but they're dead. No one cares about them anymore, right?
What's the word?
They're unalive. They're actually.
Man, it sounds like the line at what's the chicken place? Not Filet-O-Fish.
Chick-fil-A?
Chick-fil-A,
Yep.
yeah. Fucking 6 hours to see nothing.
But they were there, bro. They were lined up at the edge of their seat. There were the reaction videos, the whole deal. But we last week there was the chair reveal, and then a lot of news, scuttlebutt, as they say.
Scuttlebutt.
About the fact that, this person wasn't in the movie. I didn't see this one. We had said last week, dude, there's no way that's the entire cast.
No.
If anything, that's probably just a list of cameos.
Right. In addition to that, they might not even be coming in as you think they are.
Right.
Like Gambit, he's talking about, maybe I will
did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
Basically,
whatever,
I may not be. I mean, now you could just be messing with everybody, but that does bring up a good point. Don't assume you know who these characters are playing.
Right.
Chris Evans in Deadpool Wolverine, right? The whole, it's Cap. No, it's not. It's Human Torch, bitch.
Yep.
But Kevin Feige confirms exactly what we thought, Adrian. So he was at CinemaCon this past week, and they shared some Doomsday breadcrumbs. So he confirmed that shooting does begin in a few days. So by the time you watch this, probably already started. But he did say that the studio has not revealed the full cast yet. It's unclear as to when we will find out who else will appear. But this whole, this person's left out, Kevin says, there's a lot more to come. And what he says, this is the most we're going to get about this movie right now from a story standpoint. Doomsday will revolve around the Avengers, Wakandans, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and original X-Men all fighting Dr. Doom, which was kind of to be expected. And I think a lot of people, too, when they saw X-Men on the chairs, they thought we're going to get Avengers versus X-Men. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're getting that for a while.
Right.
Which I don't think we should get that for a while.
No, I don't think we should get that at all. But definitely, I'm surprised they're just limiting it to those 4 or 5. It sounds like about 5 groups.
Yeah.
I would expect it to be other people.
Okay. Like who? Who do you think's missing?
I don't know, but I mean, is Doctor Strange part of the Avengers? Is She-Hulk part of the? I mean, she is, and she's in and out. So right. I don't know. The Hell's Kitchen group, are they going to be there?
Right.
Things like that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, we haven't seen what Avengers lineup is going to be in this movie yet, too. Which I think obviously we'll find out when this movie drops. But some of the names that were notably absent were Tom Holland's Spider-Man, Chris Pratt as Star-Lord, Haley Steinfeld as Hawkeye or Kate Bishop, Charlie Cox, like you mentioned, Daredevil, and then you got Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. I mean, do they show up in this? Who knows? Of all those, you think it's pretty much a given Spider-Man's going to be in this Doomsday?
It should be. I mean, because again, if you don't have the Spider-Man, then you really don't have the catalyst for Venom.
Correct. And who knows how much of both Secret Wars stories they're going to pull from, because there's so much going on in there. I was just actually I started reading Secret Wars again this past weekend because I'm working on the Secret Wars kind of guide that we're going to present here. And also we're going to I'm working on some packages that maybe we can put for sale on the website.
Okay.
But that's coming soon. But the thing is I'm reading through these stories again, dude, and there's so many different plot lines that precede Secret Wars, that end up in Secret Wars. So my point is there's so much shit they can pull from. And that's just the 2015 one.
Right.
You mentioned the Venom, Spider-Man getting the black Spider-Man suit.
Right.
That was not a race swap black Spider-Man.
Right.
Like just,
but the suit color is black, regardless of who's inside.
Correct. And actually, that's a great example of doing inclusion right. Instead of taking Peter Parker and making him black or Hispanic, they created Miles Morales.
Sure.
Right? He's still Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
And I think arguably maybe getting close to being equally as popular as Spider-Man to this generation. Right. Like most kids, when they see Spider-Man, or you ask them Spider-Man, I think half of them are going to think Miles Morales.
Exactly. It's like somebody said, I think it was Dick Gregory. You can look up who Dick Gregory is, but he made a point about like Obama when he became president. He's like, if you take when Obama became president, if a child was born on that year and he became 4 years old, he's looking at a president of the United States.
Correct.
And then Obama got reelected. So for 8 years, for this child's entire life, he had never seen a white president before. So to him, when somebody else comes behind him and becomes a white guy can become a president.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so times are changing. And like you said, a lot of people that grew up with Miles Morales, they might not really think about Peter Parker.
Correct. I bet if I were to ask my kids, I have 4 kids, I bet half of them would think Miles first because they're younger, right?
Sure.
It's funny you say that. This has nothing to do with the comics, but I talked about where I've grown up here before. In elementary school, my principal was a black female. So my first exposure to a principal was black female. So as you get older, I didn't Barack being president, I didn't realize how big of a deal it was because me, from the minute I was in school in that authority position, there wasn't a white dude.
Right.
Compared to every other school or every other, whatever out there.
Yep.
What's that have to do with the comics? Nothing. But anyways,
nothing at all.
Nothing at all. But yeah, dude, I don't think, this whole idea of, this person's not, they're not going to spoil the whole thing for us, right? Like they're not going to, hey, Adrian, here's what we're doing in the movie. This is what Doom's going to do. And this is when I want some things to be left as a surprise. Absolutely. Like, I would be willing to bet that most of this cast that they announce are not going to be main roles.
Well, you can't have that many chairs and have everybody be a main role. Everybody is a supporting role.
Yep.
The teams are the actors, the main actors. So the main actor in this would be the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, the Avengers, Dr. Doom on his own. These are the main actors, and everybody else is like underneath that.
Right. The other thing you hear a lot online is this multiversal saga is a mess. It's not going to work. We don't know what's happening yet. They're going to rush everything. Like, I've even seen some stuff. Well, if Doom is introduced here, like, is that too soon, too quick? Okay, I think sometimes we forget that for decades upon decades, movies were not connected, right? So, for example, The Matrix. When we first saw The Matrix, you didn't know who Neo was, right? Who was the Lawrence Fishburne's character, Morbius?
Morbius.
You didn't know who he was, right? They introduced him in the movie, and then you got to know them. Now, we almost get confused here. Like, we think that you need 4 movies building someone up before we see them in a movie. Right. You could wait till Doomsday to introduce Dr. Doom.
Sure.
And still build up where we know who his character is. We understand, what his mission, and you can get emotionally invested in characters that were just introduced in one movie. We've done it for decades. I just think we get kind of you fucked up in the head a little bit, Adrian. These guys are day drinking, fucking online typing shit. Like, everybody calm down. So I'm not hitting the panic. But I'm not hitting the fucking panic button with anything right now as far as the MCU goes. But I do think they have left a lot behind the curtain. And I hope that it remains behind the curtain. I want to see surprises in this movie.
Yep, absolutely.
But that being said, we are going to continue to talk about Doomsday rumors because they're everywhere, dude. Yeah. So Haley Atwell, she plays Peggy Carter, also Captain Carter in Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. And she's reprised that role from a voice acting standpoint in What If. which rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Not that she did anything, but they they made this Captain Carter character like crazy overpowered in this What If show. And a lot of people were like, that's just a little too much.
Right.
Now, she was in an interview recently where I think she all but confirmed that she'd be back in Doomsday, but she talked about her cameo in Doctor Strange 2, and she kind of critiqued it a little bit. So if you remember, this was when Doctor Strange uncovers the Illuminati in another universe, right? And Scarlet Witch is taking control of one of her variants' bodies in that universe, and she decides she's going to come and just fucking kill everybody, right? Or unalive them, Adrian, is what she did. But there was some cool, like, interactions here. Like, we see Reed for the first time in MCU. John Krasinski who played him. How do you think he did? I mean, it was a short cameo, but look-wise, he nailed it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Like, would you want to see more of him as Reed?
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the most Reed-like I've seen in a while. Even though I think the guy from the first two Fantastic Four movies, he was the one.
You liked him?
Yeah. It's just that the movie just kind of destroyed, his participation.
Yes, absolutely. And then we see Captain Carter, who we were first introduced to in What If, the first season of What If, right? I thought it was cool to have her show up, but if you remember, she has the shield and she throws the Captain America line out there. I can do this all day. Throws the shield. Next thing you know, she gets chopped in half. So obviously she cannot do it all day. But that was actually her critique. She's like, I could do this all day. And then followed by, she's immediately cut in half by a Frisbee. And the audience is like, she can't do it all day. Apparently you can't. So yeah, egg on your face. So she kind of critiqued the writing right there, which I'm on her side here. That's stupid right. It makes the character look goofy.
Right. It does.
Like, she's supposed to be this badass. Oh, you do this all day. You wouldn't do that with Cap, would you?
No, absolutely not.
Do you? I know it was a quick scene. It was over fast, but when Scarlet Witch came and obliterated these Illuminati, how'd you feel about that?
I didn't really think about how I felt about it at all. I'm still not. It's just, I mean, it was just, it was an event. It played into the narrative. That's all. Okay. That's the only thing I thought about.
So you weren't like, people had a lot of issue with, like, can't believe she can't. Scarlet Witch is powerful.
Right.
Like, that's not crazy for her to be able to do that.
No, not at all.
No. I'm
surprised it took as long as it did.
Right.
Because I don't like this, I call it the hula hoop motion. You got to spin up and you got to talk through your spells and do all this Doctor Strange bullshit. I don't like that at all. I mean, it should have been like that. Right. She should have had one thought, all of them gone.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. That's what happens in Rivals, dude. That pure chaos, dude. If you're in the way, you're fucking gone, Adrian.
Hey.
Disintegrated. But it made for some cool interaction. Yeah, I was not as offended at the scene as most people. Like, dude, because I'm on that side of she is one of the most powerful beings in all of Marvel. Like, you bring up all the time, House of M. If you could say no more mutants and change the landscape of the entire comic universe for years,
right?
You're pretty fucking powerful.
That's it.
So to think that, she cut, Captain Carter in half, she shredded Mr. Fantastic like some spaghetti and went inside Xavier's head and mind fucked him to death.
Right. Pancaked Captain Marvel.
Yep.
All right. Hey.
Yeah, her too. And then the only stupid one was the Black Bolt where she sewed his mouth shut. And apparently
I was offended by that.
Yeah, exactly. That one offended me. Oh, he just forgot that he had this power. And I guess he's never, like, sneezed or anything. I don't know.
Let me see. Your voice comes from your throat, which means that it goes through your mouth.
Yes.
Across your teeth.
No diddy.
So, if you can do that, I don't think that having your lips closed is going to it was just stupid.
He's never held his breath. He's never been swimming. I don't know. But yeah, I wasn't offended by that overall scene. Now, question though, we've seen Haley Atwell as Peggy, right? Agent Carter. Now they have the whole show. You ever seen their show?
No.
I've watched like a couple episodes. It actually looks pretty good, but there's too much shit to watch, Adrian. Right. And then we've seen her as Captain Carter in live action and both in animation. But say, Adrian, she's definitely coming back for Doomsday. Would you rather, play a game called Would You Rather, would you rather see Haley Atwell return as Peggy Carter or Captain Carter in Avengers Doomsday?
I don't think she'd have much of a supporting role as Peggy Carter.
Okay.
I don't think she should be there at all.
Okay, so you'd rather not see her.
I'd rather not see her. But if she's going to come back, then probably Captain Carter.
Captain Carter.
Because this whole thing isn't about upper management sitting around and coordinating things.
Right.
And you're definitely not going to be sitting around coordinating things
in Doomsday.
In Doomsday.
Yeah.
So you need to have abilities, some kind of other resources, powers. You need to have something because it's going to be a fight.
Correct.
And I don't think her as a civilian would fit, or military personnel would fit in any role on that planet.
Right. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And also, Cap is old in this, right? He's like sunsetted, or maybe he's dead. We don't really know what Captain America's doing, at least in Earth 616.
Right.
So to have her show up as Peggy Carter with no Cap, what the hell is she going to be doing?
Well, that's a shit on Cap, too, because if he's old, then he's back in time to be with her, right?
Right.
You talking about that one?
Yeah.
So what did she do? Like, fuck you,
Right.
motherfucker, and I'm going to bounce into the future to become the Captain America?
Actually, the Agent Carter in 616 is dead. Remember, she's old. She's an old lady that died in Civil War.
Okay,
Yeah,
yep.
so it would have to be a variant from another universe. So I Captain Carter all the way. We don't need to see Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
We don't want to have her in there just to need to be saved by Captain America,
Or just don't have her at all.
There you go. All right, so that's your
Just
vote.
saying.
So you'd rather just not see her.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's no mainstream reason for her to be in that. She's never been part of the Avengers. She isn't a part of the X-Men.
Right.
She's not a part of the Fantastic Four. So what she's just going to pop up for any other reason? No.
Right. Got it.
Because I'm Captain Carter?
Yeah, dude, she's badass. With Doomsday production beginning, we are going to see some leaks, Adrian. So if you remember around Deadpool Wolverine time, we saw some set photos of Deadpool and Wolverine in the Void, right? We saw the Sabretooth. Now, I would say they did a good job in that movie where we saw a couple scenes kind of leaked, and then that was it.
Right.
It was really just that Void scene with Sabretooth. The rest of the movie, I think they did a good job of kind of keeping that undercover. Like, we didn't see Gambit or any of those characters leaked. So there has been some set photos leaked for Endgame or Doomsday, Adrian. So if you head over...
Wait, are we talking about set photos or previews?
Just set photos.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So if you go to the laptop shot, Adrian, I got this right here, and we got this guy put his logo right there, so he got credit because he's probably the one pulling the watcher, taking photos here. He's like a peeping Tom, dude, But anyways, all it really looks like, dude, is like a crater. And you see this here, another giant crater. So really reveals nothing, but we just know this is the set. Now, this could have something to do with an incursion, right? Two Earths colliding, and there's going to be some destruction. There could be some type of meteor from outer space. So who the hell knows? All we know is it looks pretty fucked up.
Yeah. Well, that's the first impact of Superman from Scarlet Witch. And then the other one, Super Dog or whatever, comes get him from the other impact is when he's out in the Antarctic. And then Toto, the dog, or whatever the fuck it is, picks him
You're
up.
You're mixing all the lore right now,
and drags him across the ice.
Absolutely. And then Dom Toretto comes down in his Charger. Right. Family. Yes. With Groot in the back. Yes, dude. We make a movie here one day. But yeah, there's not much revealed by that. But the Russo brothers, they asked, so everyone's out there doing. Now, here's the difference, DC. Now, Superman, they did drop some 5-minute teaser. I didn't watch it. Did you see this?
No.
I actually saw the video and started skimming through a little bit. I'm like, I just don't want to see him being dragged around by crypto right now. And just, oh my God, here, boy. It does look like they're leaning into that funny, but it looks cool. I would say from a look, there was what's Superman's little solitude?
Fortress of Solitude.
Fortress of Solitude. They showed some scenes of that. They look pretty cool. But anyways, the Russo brothers were asked about this, and they said that basically, we're pretty good at shutting these things down. So most of Doomsday is going to be shot on sound stages, so inside somewhere where people can't do this. Really, for that reason, he said we don't want people getting photographs, so we are being pretty stringent. And Anthony then chimed in to say the location work we are doing, we have picked those locations with that in mind as well. and they're gearing up for a standard length shoot, which will be about 6 months. And they also said that they're looking at this as a challenge. Like he said, one of the Russo brothers, we want to beat those younger versions of ourselves, right? We have to be right because we have to outdo those movies in a way, or we have to at least take you on an equally engaging journey. And he said, go on to say, these movies are an incredible opportunity for us. They're an incredible opportunity for audiences. So we're doing what we can to deliver the experience everyone, I think, hopes for. So, I mean, at least their goals align with, I think, what we're looking for from an audience, right?
Sure.
But I like that they're going to be filming inside because I don't want a lot of this shit spoiled.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, they could quite simply just go in, inhabit one of these Anunnaki caves. I mean, they're big enough, right? And then put a guard on the entrance. You know, resurrect one of them giants.
Right.
Have them stand fast, and problem solved.
Yeah. Damn.
Speaking of that, I wonder if Superman's password to the Fortress of Solitude is Martha.
But then Batman would be able to get in too. Though,
There's that.
So
There's that.
who knows?